You are now watching the 50th Knowledge Exchange Conference with the theme eCenters in the Digital Philippines for the New Normal. Today is our 30th training webinar entitled Technical Competency 3 Interpersonal Skills, November 26, 20 20, 26, 2020, streaming live over YouTube. 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 20 Maayong buntag. Buenos dias. Assalamualaikum. Magandang umaga. Good morning po, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It's our 13th week together. Wow. No, we started last August and we're now at the end of November. So welcome to KC 15. This is Angel once again, your host for today. So KEC is a gathering of community center forerunners, centers of excellence, ICT for development enthusiasts, government and industry leaders, academe, and everybody involved in making ICT available to communities. Of course, to exchange ideas, to collaborate, to share best practices, relevant solutions, and success stories. Ayan. So, babatiin ko po muna yung ating mga audience today. Okay. Please comment lang po kayo sa YouTube if my voice is coming off not clear, ganon. Let's try to make this engaging even when we're just seeing each other through screens. All right. So, good morning and welcome. We have a guest from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Thank you for joining us this morning. We also have guests from Laguna. Magandang umaga po. Okay, we still have Sir Petronilio of Tuguegarao. So, hoping na nakapag-recover na po somehow yung ating mga kapatid sa Tuguegarao. We also have from Mogpog, Marinduque. Binyan, Laguna. Okay. Magandang umaga po. We have from Valencia, Bukidnon. Good morning po sa inyo. Maayong buntag. Camarines Norte Provincial Library. Hello po. We have from Tandag City. Okay, let me check. Baka may mamiss ako. Meron tayong from Santa Rosa. Of course, present since day 1, no? San Fabian, Pangasinan. Hi po. We have from Taytay Rizal. Ayun. We have from Central Mindanao University. Maayong buntag ninyo diha. We have from India. We have from Northern Samar, Tarlac, and Puerto Princesa. Ayan. Thank you po for setting your time apart to join us in the next 2 hours. So, 2 hours lang po or less yung ating session today. And we have a very exciting topic for today. So, dear friends, this webinar, as you know, was organized by the Philippine Community eCenter Network Incorporated in cooperation with the Department of Information and Communications Technology. Of course, with the very active support of the University of the Philippines Open University, the Philippine Council for Agriculture, Aquatic, and Natural Resources Research and Development of the DOST, and local governments of Tayabas, Quezon, and San Remio, Cebu. And of course, no, the support as well of Asian Institute of Journalism and Communication, and with special thanks, of course, to our sponsors, PLDT and Quezon Power Limited. So with that, please watch this infomercial.
Mahigit sa 20,000 na ang confirmed
ng PPE.
Isa sa ilalim na ang Metro Manila sa...
Wala na. Wala munang mga food court at fiesta. Meron namang lutong bahay. Wala munang window shopping. Meron namang free shipping. Wala munang happy hour. Pero may isang oras pa. Tulog pa tayo. Wala muna yung aircon at only coffee sa office. Pero andyan yung dream office mate natin. Biruin mo, wala munang quiz night, band night, samgyup night, pati videoke night. Pero meron ng time sa family night. Wala na munang pasyalan, wala na munang bakasyunan. Okay lang siguro mawala lahat ng yon. Huwag lang ito. Kasi may mga bagay na walang kapalit. May mas mahalaga ba dito? Wala. Rediscover what matters. Rediscover home.
Buenos dias otra vez. No, magandang umaga po muli, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and other parts of the world. Um, so thank you again for joining us this morning. Don't forget to send the link to your colleagues or drop your comments, or if you have some questions, you can also chat that out. All right. So we'll be together for 2 hours, no, this year. KEC 15 went virtual with a series of webinars every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. So we started last August 20, and we will have one more episode next week. So that's over 3 months of knowledge sharing, and these webinars are absolutely free. It is PhilSecNet's contribution in the country's fight against the pandemic through enabling, empowering, strengthening, and facilitating the digital transformation of communities. So to join, all you have to do is register once for the entire conference. If you have not registered yet, you may still do so today. So please find the link in the description box below to participate in the open forum, since we have a very exciting topic today which we can apply to all aspects of our lives, not only in the workplace. So you will need to post your questions through an open forum form. You will also find that in the description box below. So if you have a question for our speaker, we might not be able to check or sort that out on YouTube, given the number of participants. So please type your question away at our open forum form. Also, everyone will have the chance to receive the e-certificate for this webinar. So all you have to do is provide us your feedback for the webinar and to answer a very short quiz, just to help us assess how you understood our topic for today. And the link to the feedback form is also in the description box below. So we will that will be made available towards the end of the webinar. And of course, we will also be drawing raffle prizes today, just as we have been doing since August. So some of our winners from last week were not able to claim the prizes. So we have 9 lucky winners today that we will be announcing later on. So you will be receiving cash prizes worth 500 pesos. So do we have participants uh, who would like to win our 500 cash prize today, can you just comment comment down your excitement if you think that's you, or if you think that you are one of our 9 winners. Okay, so all registered participants from the opening webinar last August 20 until today will have the chance to win for the entire conference. So to win your prize or to claim your prize, take note that you have to email us at at secretariat at philsecnet.org before we end the webinar. So use the email subject raffle claim, your complete name, and send us your bank details such as the name of your bank and the branch and your account number. Okay, so we just want to remind everybody that we're not in any way asking for your password or your OTP. So in case you receive an email or a text message or a chat or a communication from anyone asking those details from you, so please be so cautious and as much as possible, don't give them away. All right, so make sure to email us before the webinar.
Hey, nakamute ako. Okay. Alright, so um, nakuha lang po ba natin yung instruction? If the instruction is clear, you can just, can you comment po na it's clear? So to claim the prize, you have to email us before the webinar ends. Email us at secretariat@philsecnet.org. Okay, so before we proceed to our session proper, may I request our participants to just, comment down if the instruction came clear or you have some clarification before we proceed to our session, or to our topic today. Okay, maghihintay po ako. Ayan, so clear na daw. Sabi ni Ma'am City Zubaida Murad Mala. Okay, thank you so much for your feedback. All right. So now I would like to introduce to you our moderator today, who will be introducing our resource person. Our moderator started out as a teacher in high school and college. After shifting his career from the academy to the IT industry, he got the chance to pursue leadership and management in business process outsourcing for 11 years. So with dedication and perseverance, he became a civil servant and has been leading the Management Information Systems Division of DOST Picard for 6 years now. So ladies and gentlemen, our moderator, the Philsecnet Treasurer and Chairperson of the 15th Knowledge Exchange Conference, please welcome Dr. Richard E. Amundsen.
Thank you, Ms. Angel, for that modest introduction. So for today's webinar, we now discuss Technical Competency 3, Interpersonal Skills. By the end of this webinar, participants are expected to communicate effectively, interface and build teamwork among colleagues and good relationship with customers and stakeholders, plan and manage time effectively, build credibility by being trustworthy and reliable, remain accurately aware of timeframes and successfully meet deadlines, and of course, make decisions, initiate urgent actions, and remain calm in stressful situations. Without further delay, please allow me to introduce to you our resource person. Our speaker is an instructional design consultant for distance education with 11 years work experience on flexible learning, both national and international, through Simyo Inutech. 14 years combined work experience as professional teacher, educational manager, and school head. 11 years of experience as part-time university lecturer, consultant for Quality Systems Manual for Philippine Association for Professional Regulatory Board Members Incorporated and Professional Regulation Commission since September 2019 to present. A book author and editor, on-call trainer, resource person of DBPI and Mary Lindbergh International. He is also a technopreneur at Ideal Prime Ventures International Incorporated. He has served as consultant to various organizations like the Professional Regulation Commission and the Philippine Association of Regulatory Board Members Incorporated, UNESCO National Consultant in Philippines, MFIT Values Education, UNESCO Bangkok, and IIEP UNESCO Paris. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of PhilSecNet's board members representing the Asian Institute of Journalism and Communication, or AIJC, Professor Pierangelo B. Alejo. Good morning, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Amantek. Good morning. Good morning,
sir.
everyone.
Welcome for joining us again.
Thank you, sir. It's always an honor to be introduced. Yeah. It is always an honor to be introduced by Dr. Amansek, one who has time and again delivered quality service not only for us in the board and the constituency of PhilSecNet, but also in his own publics and Picard, no, and many other places. Thank you, Dr. Amansek, for this.
You're very much welcome,
Well,
sir. It's a pleasure to serve. Mukhang konti na lang, sir, mukhang ako na yung speaker na ini-introduce nyo. Alright, go ahead,
Yes.
sir. Take it away.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. Here we are again, and this time we are going to talk about interpersonal skills. So please bear with me. I hope our technical communication will be sustained all throughout. We prepared a short PowerPoint slides presentation for you, as you will see when I speak. It's a technical competency not only for the eCenter managers and operators of the more than, well, thousands actually, thousands of Tech4ED centers all around the country. In NCR alone, more than 1,000 centers, eCenters. So this is not only for eCenter managers and operators, but for anyone who is working with the government or private institution, businessmen, people in government and in the private sector who are dealing with different kinds of people. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a technical competency we call interpersonal skills. In this final webinar, we hope to talk to you about, well, basically, what is this? This is people skills. Okay? People skills. When we say people skills, what immediately comes to mind are the capacities, the powers that ordinary people like you and me have. The listening, the talking, the thinking, the relating powers or capacities, abilities that human beings have. These are people skills. Since we have a social nature, we are able to listen, we are able to communicate with other people. So the short of this presentation is simply that, people skills. Okay? That is why in the learning objectives that were introduced earlier by Dr. Amansek, I hope to give justice to talking about with you the values of communicating effectively, so that we are also able to be reminded how to interface and build teamwork amongst our colleagues. So in the list of learning objectives that you will see in our next slide, you will find that it is the objective of this webinar that we talk about building good relationships with customers, with the people who flock to your center, with the stakeholders, the donors, the sponsors, the government. Every time DICT and other branches of government agencies try to help funnel or channel assistance through your eCenter, the local government unit trying to support your activities, your events, well, we have to build good relationships with them, with the stakeholders. And since their time is limited, such as the time that you have, we have to exercise time management, plan our activities, build credibility by being professionals, by appearing not only as credible professionals in the field, but also as trustworthy persons dealing with different agencies. So, friends, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about the values of not only the essential people skills that we must have, we must possess, but also the professional integrity that you and I have as managers and leaders. So these are the learning objectives of our training module, our webinar for today. And let us begin by clarifying the synonyms of interpersonal skills. Shall we? You will be reminded that the tautologies of this Anglo-Saxon term, interpersonal skills, as I've said earlier, is simply put as people skills. But a more familiar terminology would now be soft skills. HR practitioners and experts around the world have referred to these interpersonal skills as a skill set they call soft skills. Okay? So interpersonal skills are also people skills. Another way of saying it is soft skills. ¿Está claro? So, next. In the 17th and 18th century, through the years, throughout human history, excuse me, we have seen governments, kingdoms around the world, in Europe, in Asia, in the Americas. We have seen communities governed by different kingdoms, different cultures, and just be reminded of the, let's say, European kingdoms. You have seen movies where there are courtly gentlemen and ladies trying to talk to each other in a way that is so suave, so ladylike, so respectful, so just like the British, the old British. This courtly manner or courtesy, in the using the term in the English language, is an etiquette that prevailed for so many years, for centuries. Okay, so we refer to this courtly manner as the prim and proper way of carrying yourself, of dressing, even for the head. They had a headgear before. They wear, even male people wore wigs. Not only those magistrates in the court, but high-ranking people or ordinary people wore wigs, hats, etc. The ladies wore girdles, balloon dresses, etc. So there are things in ordinary and special etiquette that people were used to doing in the earlier centuries. However, in the 19th to the 20th century, we have now been referring to these interpersonal skills as quote unquote soft skills. So when we say soft skills, these are the various skill sets for communication, for self motivation, for leadership, for being responsible officers and employees, for teamwork, for problem solving, critical thinking, for decision making, the ability to work under pressure with little supervision, flexibility, negotiation, conflict management, resolution. These are all soft skills. Okay? Especially in the 20th century, HR practitioners and experts referred to this as, I don't know why they are called soft, but in contrast, the hard skills were the technical skills of, I don't know, measuring, calculating, estimating, analyzing, etc. And maybe they refer to the soft skills because these are natural, connatural to our natural capabilities, abilities to speak, to relate with one another. So maybe that's the a short bit of explanation behind that. However, eventually, in the 20th century, these soft skills are now referred to as, both in written and spoken form. You will see in my slide, in the 21st century, we now refer to the soft skills as essential skills. Okay? There are no more hard or soft skills. All of these skills that we use every day are essential skills. So the 21st century skills are not just soft skills, but essential skills. This was backed up by studies, by research. One prominent venue is the World Economic Forum, when this global body published, there's a publication about the top 10 skills that professionals, workers must have. And they compared the top 10 skills of the 2015, the year 2015, to the 2020 skills that we need today, this year, the times of COVID. So a stark contrast in this study was the bottom 9 or 10 skills in that list of the top 10 skills included creativity. Okay, that included creativity. The higher or top 1, 2, 3 skills of 2015 were the usual things: problem solving, critical thinking. But some of those soft skills were in the bottom 9, 10. But in the 2020 top 10 skills, many of the bottom 8, 9, 10 are now in the top 1, 2, 3. So because this is now a confirmation that there are no more hard or soft skills. All of these are essential skills. And you can see from the slide what we have captured as the 4 C's. The hard and soft skills, which we consider now as essential, are communication skills, collaboration skills, critical thinking skills, especially for the young, the millennials, the generation Y and Z. Okay? Creativity, the 4 C's, as they say. Some people would call these skills, essential 21st century skills, as life skills. They are important and a conditio sine qua non, a condition without which a good personal and professional life is not worth living. So these are life skills as well. So, my friends, before I continue any further, I would like to ask volunteers also from our listeners all over the Philippines and from other countries. I have a question for you. The first question: In the next slide, this question is open for anyone. Any volunteers, you just type away your answer. How do you say interpersonal skills in another way? Let's have a few seconds of thinking. Please write down or type in your answers to my first question as I move along in this presentation. How do you say interpersonal skills, quote unquote, in another way? Your answers, please. So I'm sure we're seeing your answers. Let me show you quickly the answer for my first question. Let's see. Compare your answers with mine. If you answered people skills, communication skills, soft skills, essential skills, life skills, then you are right. Very good. Thank you. Moving on. When we talk about communication skills, we are actually going back to the basics. It's a back to the basics education of talking to another person. When we talk or speak to another person, we use a good speaking volume. It's not too loud or too soft. And then we use a good speaking pace or rate. It's not too fast or too slow. It's just normal. If you're very proficient, even in language, you can even change your accent depending on who you are talking to. You can speak in Filipino English. You can speak in Singaporean English, Chinese English, Mediterranean English. It's up to you. But please, don't overdo it. Don't do it if it's not necessary. Okay? The most important thing in communication is the communicative intent, that you are communicating effectively, that you are able to bring or deliver your message across clearly. So that means you have to pronounce your words clearly in a particular language. If it's English that you are using, use English straight. No Taglish, no Engalog. Use your speech in that particular language full, complete, and straight. Okay, no mixture, no switching, code switching. Okay, and then we answer questions or ask questions. It's important in communication to ask questions. And we can't be too shy not to ask questions because it's part of the two-way process. Then we look at the eyes. No? We look with our eyes. We look at the listener, we look at the speaker. We don't stare, but we look. We connect with our eyes because these are the windows to the soul. Okay, so it is important that we make a connection with eye contact. Okay, and then we listen and we talk. We know when to talk. We know when to listen. It's always a give and take thing in communication. We take turns, so to speak. So it's a back to the basics. These are commonsensical rules or guidelines that I am reminding everyone of. Okay? So that means, in the next slide you will see, that means there are verbals and non-verbals. Okay? There are words that are spoken or written, and there are messages or signs, symbols that are expressed through other ways other than our voice or words. That's why we have eye contact, we have facial expression, we have body language. Okay? So there are non-verbal means like laughing, crying, clearing your throat. Excuse me. Okay? Sometimes clearing our throat is an indication or a way of communicating something. Sometimes when we open our eyes wide like that, now while talking with someone, is sending the message exactly of some particular something. Okay? Coughing, body gestures, hand gestures, body language, etc. And verbal communication is either spoken or written. Okay? That's why we have oral and non-oral means of communication. We have the spoken language, we have the written language, and we have the sign language for the PWDs, persons with disabilities. We have sign language. In fact, up to now, I still know my sign language: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Okay, so talking about this stuff, now I have to ask you another question. Let's look at my next question. So, is communicating verbally the only way to have a conversation? Please key in your answers, type down or write down your answers, and then let us see, show or share your answers with us. Is communicating verbally the only way to have a conversation? Okay. Few moments. Compare your answers with mine. The answer is no. There's also nonverbal communication. Body language, gestures, facial expressions, eye contact, written signs and words, letters, deeds. Action, behavior. This is also a vehicle for expression. Your very action, your very deeds. Okay? So, people, when you're driving, when you are riding, commuting, going to work or going to a meeting, other people, strangers riding with you or other motorists driving like you, will notice you by the way you conduct yourself while driving, while passing through the tollway, passing through a traffic enforcer. So how do you conduct yourself? Do you easily shout? Do you easily blurt out expletives? Okay, curses. When somebody cuts you, these are deeds. These are behavior, ordinary spot on the spot behavior. These are vehicles for us to show what kind of communication skills we have. Okay. So thank you for participating in my quick quizzes. So let me shift now our conversation to interpersonal skills. It's a balance of asking and saying. Okay, it's a balance of asking and saying. It's taking care of ourselves, of how the way we look, how we keep our hair, okay, how we take care of our skin, how we dress. It's our ability to get feedback, collect feedback. It's our ability to clarify our intentions every time we release something written or every time we say something. It's being under control. It's joining other people, joining institutions, associations. It's the whole effort of creating trust. It's being nice. So also, interpersonal skills, you will notice through the years, you will notice that you don't let your opinion, your own interpretations, your own ideas, even if they sublimate to the universal and absolute truths, you don't let your opinion become the truth. There's such a thing as objectivity and subjectivity. If your subjective truth is sublimated under the objective truth, well, that's good. No problem. But if your subjective truth is opposite or not under the objective truth, then you're in trouble. No? Don't let your subjective truth become the objective truth. But we will respect your subjective truth. So in other words, don't be opinionated. Okay? Don't be a self-righteous professional. I know what you're thinking. Okay? So uh, we are leaders and managers. In the next slide, you will see how managers and leaders behave. Normally, manager managers asks how and when about something, whereas the leader asks what and why, right? The manager accepts the present state while the leader challenges it, shakes it. The manager has his eye on the bottom line, but the leader has his eye on the horizon, a vision, a long range, penetrating vision. So we are managers and leaders. These are two different persons. These are two different mindsets. Okay? And these things are communicated. So, pop quiz. My third question for you. Why do interpersonal skills matter in leadership and management? What the hey? Why do they matter in leadership and management? These interpersonal skills, why do you think they matter? Please share your answers with mine. Short answers will do. Now, comparing your answers with mine, let me share with you, so far as I speak, and as I deliver this lecture, interpersonal skills matter in leadership and management because it is about human relationships. It is about people helping people business. Okay? You and I are involved in a science of how to be people, how to be happy, how to be content, how to connect. So this is that's why they matter whether you are a manager or a leader. Interpersonal skills matter. Okay? So I hope you appreciate that pop quiz. And moving on, the next challenge is this. Can you read this number that I will show it to you loudly? Okay? Read the number. 9,192,631,770. That's a big number, pretty huge, right? What do you think that is? Huh? What is that? 9,192,631,770. What? Such a huge number. Okay? You know what? That, my friends, is the number of cycles or periods of radiation in the hyperfine state of a particular atom called the cesium-133 atom. And while that is in its ratified state at 0 Kelvin, we have the science and the capability now, the technology, to count the number of cycles, the number of spins of radiation of that state of atom. And that huge number of 9,192,631,770 cycles or periods of radiation of that single atom is, my friends, 1 second. That's 1 second. Isang segundo. Okay? Un momento. 1 second. In the next slide, my friends, you will see, you will be remembering a genius scientist like Albert Einstein. He once said that the only reason for time is so that everything doesn't happen at once. And what is once? What is a single moment? What is 1 second? When you say just a second, Wait a minute. Just a second. Wait a second. Can you manage the duration of 9,192,631,770 cycles or periods of the radiation corresponding to the transition between the two hyperfine levels of the ground state of a cesium-133 atom? In short, can you manage 1 second? Peter Drucker, a management guru, a management expert, said, time is the scarcest resource, and unless it is managed, nothing else can be managed. You and I, ladies and gentlemen, have the same time. If you tell me you're busy, I am also busy. If you tell me you have no time, you are wrong. You are mistaken. We all have time. In fact, you can even, quote unquote, make time. Multiply your time. Create your time. Okay? So, what is time? What is a duration? Let me show you 3 kinds of duration. When we refer to eternity, this means this is the duration where there is no beginning, there is no end. No beginning, no end, that is eternity. It will never end. When you say eviternity, from the Latin evum, A-E, V-U-M, eviternity means there is a beginning and yet there is no end. Like the duration of the angels, the purely spiritual substances, the purely spiritual created substances. They have a beginning, but they will never end. Just like the human soul. At the moment of infusion of the soul, at the time of conception in your mother's womb, your soul and mine have a beginning and an end. Okay? And how about temporal things? Temporality. Temporality means you have a beginning and you have an end. There is a beginning, there is an end. Okay? So you see the differences between each one? Eternity, eviternity, temporality. Next slide, you will see my next question. Okay, question number 4. Excuse me. What is the kind of time that has beginning and end? Or rather, if I may correct that, what is the kind of duration that has a beginning and end? Think, then share your answers. In YouTube, if you chat, if you type in your answers there, everyone in the world will see your answer. Then compare your answers with mine. In the next slide, you will see the answer. Temporality. There is a beginning, there is an end. Just like human life. Human life has a beginning when you were born. And then it will end when you die. Yes, that's the truth. You and I will die. Maybe you will die later. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe in 100 years. I don't know. But you will die. For sure. Okay? Not yet. Hopefully. In my next slide, I would like to share with you the Dwight David Eisenhower matrix. There is an army general in the United States, the commander of the vast, powerful army of the US at the time of the Second World War. General Eisenhower used this until he became the president, the 34th president of the United States. Okay? He figured the simple quadrant of pitting importance and urgency in a Cartesian coordinate, okay, X and Y. So from lowest to highest importance and from lowest to highest urgency. He thought that if you do this way, This will help you. This will help you plan. This will help you in your time management. This will help you in making decisions. The Eisenhower matrix or the Eisenhower box, the time management quadrant, is the urgency and importance matrix. So you know this, no? In algebra, in math, when you plot the coordinates of x and y, you will come up with 4 quadrants. So uh, if it is quadrant 4, if it falls under quadrant 4, eliminate it. Don't give it importance because it's not important. If it falls under quadrant 3, then you can delegate that. If it falls under quadrant 1, meaning it is very important and yet it is low on urgency, then you can do it. Okay, do it. Just do it. But if it's very, very important, very, very urgent, okay, then you have to plan about it. Okay, so this is the Eisenhower decision matrix. Now, question. Just a quick pop quiz. In the next slide, this is my 5th question. How does one prioritize what is important and urgent? How does one prioritize what is important and urgent? Maybe you will come up with the thinking that at some point in your analysis, sometimes we have we overanalyze and therefore we get paralyzed in our thinking. Sometimes at one point you will think all of them are priorities, all are needed, all of these costs, expenses are all important to pay for. Okay, how does one prioritize what is important and urgent? Please share your answers with mine. Think, few seconds, and then compare your answers with mine. In the next slide, this is my answer. Make it a priority to prioritize your priorities. Okay? I know everything is important, all matters, all are urgent. Well, then in the list of your priorities, now that you are prioritizing them, have the willpower and at the same time the patience to understand and analyze with calmness. Okay? Calma, tranquila. Okay? Think before you act. Think before you speak. And then you will see in the list of 10 priorities, you'll come up with the top 3. In a list of 100 priorities, you'll come up with the top 10. Okay? But in the first place, you have to prioritize your priorities. Make it a priority to prioritize your priorities. Okay. So, one of the greatest educators of history, master, teacher, was Aristotle. And Aristotle reminds us, we are what we repeatedly do. And therefore, excellence is not an act, but a habit. So this pagan philosopher underscores the value of virtue. Human acts that you repeat again and again and again and again, and the result is excellence. Because it's a good act, so if you always repeat it, a repeated good act becomes a habit, and it's excellent. Okay? And this is what I have to tell you. My friends, your human life, mine included, which has a beginning and an end, and time, life and time, are your best teachers. Life teaches you to make good use of time. And time teaches you the value of life. In the next slide, though it may be morbid, let me share with you an art form and a caption for this I have captured for you, which has a great deal of wisdom to it. Time and death waits not for anyone, not even you. Even if you are the richest, even if you are Manny Pacquiao, even if you are the richest person in the world, time will not wait for you. Okay? Every time the clock ticks and the pendulum of the clock sways, it burrows even deeper, digging through, preparing your grave. Okay. Time and death waits not for anyone. So, pop quiz. Pop quiz. What is a good tool or human management device for time management and identifying your priorities? If you were listening, you know the answer to this. What's a good tool? A moment of thinking, then please key in your answers. Write down your answers and share them. I'm sure my colleagues at the back in the backdoor team watching now can see your answers. Compare your answers with mine, and you'll see there. Well, it's the importance urgency quadrant, or the time management quadrant, or the Eisenhower matrix, the Eisenhower decision box. So this will remind you that there is such a tool, a human device that can help you prioritize your priorities. My friends, modern life is handed to us, is served to us, just like this art form that I will show you in the next slide. Like a canned good. Modern life that is condensed and packaged with all the advertisements there on the label. Canned modern life, 45% massively overrated. Very cheap, 10 cents only, even with the trademark. Hugely undernourishing, no refunds, now with massive disillusionment and lasting disappointment, may cause death, with a Surgeon General's warning, doctor's warning, possible choking hazard, not for general consumption, up to 50% extra crushed dreams and hopes, Big Mac flavor. Modern life nowadays, in the times of COVID, in the pandemic times, is served to us not as a bed of roses, not as a corned beef that is so delicious. Well, modern life is served to us with so many problems, with so many challenges. You and I are not spared by the problems and challenges. So, let me share with you a simple diagram, flow chart, why good interpersonal skills matter and why it is good to have them, interpersonal skills. You know, in our life, we have different experiences. Pluck out one experience. Consider that experience. Think about that solid, singular experience. Then you ask yourself, what? What is that? And then when you get the answers to that, ask yourself again, so what? And then when you realize getting your answers to that, so what? Then you look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, now what? And then you get to learn. Then goes to another experience, a new learning, then another, an unlearning, then a relearning, then a cycle continues. And all of these, my friends, are carried through and on interpersonal skills. Good interperson, no? Person to person. among persons, with persons. The person with you matter. Okay? Why have good interpersonal skills? Because it is part of the learning process. It is part and parcel of the learning process. You want to be promoted? You want to achieve your dreams? Then this is a building block. Interpersonal skills is a golden building block. If you are poor in interpersonal skills, kiss your dreams bye-bye. Gentlemen, ladies, my seventh question to you now is this. Are interpersonal skills really 21st century skills? Think, think, think. Key in, write down your answers, then share them. Compare your answers with mine. My answer is yes. They are now regarded as essential in the global community, the global market. The World Education Forum even cited 2020 skills with interpersonal traits and skills. Okay? So let us summarize my brief lecture on interpersonal skills with this next slide. My friends, to be human is to be nice. To be a human person is to be inevitably nice. Interpersonal skills is a kindness skill set. If you are not nice, if you are not kind, that is a clear indication that you have poor interpersonal skills. If you're not used to smiling, if you're not used to laughing at a simple joke, a mirth, then that room, the area for improvement is huge. Okay, it's a kindness skill set. And these 5 summary bullet points is important. There is need to communicate for survival's sake. You and I, as human beings, have a social nature. If we have human nature, part of that human nature is our being social beings. We have a social nature. We human beings are male and female. And as human beings, we belong to a community. We have to network. Okay? Part of our specialized skill set is networking. You and I are networkers. You can't escape that fact. We have to network. It's a good and positive thing. It's a positive term. Networking, networker. I am not ashamed to be called a networker. It's a good thing. Only people who are not kind are popularizing the term as a negative word because they're not nice. It's not nice. It is important for the perpetuation of the species. If you and I need to survive and stay as a human race, then interpersonal skills is needed. And then fourth, there is such a thing as contingency in the material universe. We cannot escape the fact that the materiality of this world is such that everything is contingent. It has a beginning, it has an end. They are subjected to friction. They are subjected to time. Okay? Wear and tear. We will grow old. Okay? We will die. And then finally, this is good for your job. This is good for business. This is good for business. Okay? It's being nice. It's a kindness skill set. So, pop quiz. Quiz number 8. Excuse me. What is it in human nature that proves people need interpersonal skills? What is it in our human nature? Think, think, think. Write down, key in your answers, share them with me to the rest of the world. Comparing your answers with mine, the answer is the social nature of man. And when I say man here in this slide, I'm referring to man and woman. So don't get me wrong. This is not a feminist issue. There is no issue of gender here. When I say man, you and I know this is man and woman. Okay? Let's be nice. All right. In summary, if you remember the learning objectives of this webinar, for that first point, please bear in mind and remember that we need to express ourselves. We need to make a good impression. We need to impress our customers, our clients, our partner, our spouse, our children, our family, our friend. You have to express. If you don't express, how can they understand you? How can they know? How can they get the information? So we have to communicate effectively. This is about expression and impression. The second learning objective of this webinar is interface and build teamwork among colleagues, network. So bear in mind personal and professional integrity. There is a thin line between personal and professionalism. What is personal and what is professional? But what you are professionally depends on who you really are personally. Okay? Not only MWF or TTHS, but every day, with or without eyes looking. Even when no one is looking, what you are professionally, being trusted, being respected, is because of who you are in person. What you are in person. So remember, personal and professional integrity. There is no double life. No? There is no, dirty or undercover clothing, camouflage. Remember, gentlemen and ladies, there is no camouflage which can for long conceal or hide love where it exists, or simulate where it does not. Number three, in building good relationship with customers and stakeholders, remember this simple summary. Friendship and confidence. Friendship and confidence. People will open up to you. People will go to you. People will buy what you're selling if they are your friends. If there is confidence between the two of you, then you're sold. No? You're good. Okay? Friendship and confidence. In your networking, make sure there is personal, on the personal level, there is friendship and confidence. This is important. Okay? The number four summary is plan and manage time effectively. What about that? Remember, beginning and ending on time. Okay? Begin and end on time. If you're having a class in Zoom or a face-to-face class, and begin and end your session on time. As much as possible, no overtime. Okay? As a respect for the next teacher, as a respect for the next speaker. Okay? Begin and end on time. Be prompt. Don't be late. Try not to be late. If you will be late, say your valid excuse in advance. Okay? Respect the people expecting. Beginning and ending. Always remember that. And then for our last learning objective, build credibility by being trustworthy and reliable. So, what should you remember, my friends? 2 C's. Consistency and commitment, consistency and commitment. You will only be trusted. You will only be credible for them if you are consistent with the use of information, with the respect for information. If there's consistency, you can easily commune with others. There will be commitment. Remember the problem of the world. No? Why are there people who are hard-headed? Even if they know it is wrong, it is sinful, and yet they still do it. Why? Because they don't want to sacrifice. No, there is no commitment. Maybe they know, but they're not willing. They don't want to make it a priority, prioritizing their priorities. Okay? They don't want to think about, I will also die. Okay? That's why love is important. Being able to sacrifice is important. Sacrifice like a holocaust, no? A willingness to be consumed to ashes. Emulate, no? An emulation of sorts. To give everything. To squeeze yourself until there is no more juice to be squeezed. To pluck out your heart and put it on the ground so that others can walk softly, tread softly on the ground because of your heart muscles, tissues there. Soft, velvety. One can happen if you have the humility of the soil, the humility of the grass. That kind of love. The willingness to be united with your purpose. Like sword and swordsman. When sword and swordsman are united, nobody can match the skill of that excellent swordsman. Because even in the absence of the sword in his hand, even a blade of grass can be a lethal weapon. Pop quiz! So my penultimate question, gentlemen, ladies, is this. What is most important in networking, interface, and building teamwork among colleagues? Think, think, think. eCenter managers, operators, executives, managers, leaders, local government operators, operating officers. Okay, think, 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 and then share your answers with mine. Comparing your answer with mine, the answer is personal and professional integrity. Yes, personal and professional integrity. Because it is in our personal, who we are as a person, and how we conduct ourselves in our business professionally, we will be remembered. Okay? So that's our penultimate pop quiz. And to sum it all up, it's the ability to give. Okay? It's the ability to give yourself, emptying yourself, being selfless. And before I say bye-bye, please watch this video, and then I will end with the last pop quiz. Okay? This video was produced and organized in Thailand. And I am personally known to the subject of this video, Dr. Prajak Aruntong, a medical doctor whose life story is shared in a few minutes. Take it away. Ay, nagnakaw ka na naman. Loko kang bata ka. Ninakaw mo yung tumatamat ito. Op. Sandali lang. May sakit ba nanay mo? Then the old man pays for the stolen medicine. Huwag mo na ulitin yan, ha? Then the old man gives him the medicine and some hot veggie soup. And without any word, looks at the old man, scampers away. 30 years later, old man gives the taong grasa free food. Then the inevitable happens. Suffered a stroke. His only daughter rushes to help him. Goes to the hospital. Prognosis is bad. And the nurse hands her the hospital bill, which is astronomical. So, problemado, si Sola Hija, she's thinking of selling the business, closing shop, just to help her dad live. Talks to the doctor. Then she ends up selling the business. But one day, she receives the hospital bill summarizing all the expenses to the bottom line of 0 baht. Nothing to pay for. All expenses paid 30 years ago. Then you remember that boy who stole medicine? He grew up, yes. He grew up to be a fine young man. And he became the doctor, a neurosurgeon. And that neurosurgeon in Bangkok helped that old man who suffered a small ruptured vein in his head. That boy grew up to be a successful, celebrated doctor. My friends, this is the story of Dr. Prajak Aruntong. That's his picture over there, his real face, his real picture, who has helped many, many times. Giving is the best communication. So, did you like that? That short video, my friends, is my excuse for giving you my pop quiz number 10. In the next slide, why is giving the best communication? Think, think, think. Write down, key in your answer, share it with all of us. Why is giving the best communication? Compare your answers with mine, and answer to number 10 pop quiz is, well, because it is in losing, it is in giving, it is in emptying, or a sort of selflessness when we perfectly commune with one another. That's why the word community, yeah? Communion, union, together, communion. The Greek word is kerygma. You know, the Greek language is the most systematic language in the whole world. Because for one Greek word, there's only one meaning, no hues of meaning. It is in emptying. It is in our being selfless when we perfectly give. Okay? Communion is the giving of oneself. All right? It's a giving of thanks. There's a Greek word, eucharistica. Eucharistica. Giving thanks. Giving thanks every day, not only once a week. Giving thanks because the one that gives himself, body and soul, totally, everything to you, is waiting for you. Yeah. This is it. Yeah. It is in emptying, it is in giving, without expecting anything in return, where we will be truly happy. So, my friends, in the next slide, you will see a simple rating scheme. If you get 10 out of 10 correct answers, congratulations. I give you an excellent rating. If you get 7 points to 9 points out of 10, then congratulations still. you are declared competent for this webinar talking about interpersonal skills. If you get 6 out of 10, I can frankly tell you that needs improvement. If you get 1 point up to 5 points out of 10, well, repeat the webinar. This is recorded. You can always go back to it in YouTube. Okay, repeat the webinar and see the slides again, read the slides again. Okay, so friends, thank you very much for your patience, for listening to me in this few moments of sharing in this final webinar, training webinar series of PhilSecNet's KEC 15, the Knowledge Exchange Conference, brought to you live, live streamed in YouTube. I think this is a first for PhilSecNet. I congratulate and thank everyone from the board to all of the stakeholders, the technical people, all the resource persons who gave their best in giving you and the general public some knowledge that we always want to share in PhilSecNet, that I always want to share as a person from me to you. So for this moment of sharing, I thank you. God bless you. And may all your troubles go away sooner rather than later. And you stay safe and healthy. Thank you very much. I am Pierre Alejo with this webinar number 13, Interpersonal Skills. Thank you.
Great. So well delivered, Professor Pierre. The discussion was very, very rich.
Thank
If you
you.
would allow me to react a little bit to the topics that you've covered, let me start
Fire
with
away.
tautology. Ang ganda ng word. Sabi mo kanina, interpersonal skills is also people skills.
Yes.
And now is considered as an essential skill in the 21st century.
Yeah.
Soft skills.
Right.
Yeah. The word tautology, parang ano eh, totoology. Di ba?
Yeah. Right,
Tautology.
right. I didn't think of it like that. That's true.
And then
Right.
you showed earlier a slide from completeleader.org, the factors of interpersonal skills. And
Yes.
I may reiterate now because I enjoyed this very much. It somehow reflects the totality of a person who wants to improve himself or herself interpersonal skills.
Right.
And it starts with take care of yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, if we just do things for the heck of it and just forget about our health, forget about our well-being, then eventually we will fail later on. We will get
Right.
tired. So we need to rejuvenate, di ba?
Right.
Another is
Love yourself.
balance asking and telling. Yeah, not everyone is conscious about this. Most of us
Exactly.
would just fire away and then tell what they feel or what they think should be done, but not minding how the other party feels. Ano yung pinagdadaanan nila right now? I think that's
It is a
worth.
most sublime preference.
Yes, I agree. So balance asking and telling would mean speaking not for yourself alone, but also considering how the other party will receive what you want to say.
Exactly. Absolutely.
You also mentioned create high trust. Yeah. Madalas kasi kapag may mga kausap pa tayo, no? And then, especially pagka hindi masyadong okay sa'yo yung kausap mo, no? Kapag may sinabi siyang hindi ka nag-agree, you tend to object immediately.
Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah.
You tend to object immediately. And maybe
Spot
if you
on.
wanted to establish a high trust, baka nga maganda na let's try to look at what points can you agree on first.
Yes.
And then go ahead and bring up your objection or your argument. Siguro mas madali
Right.
siyang tanggapin ng other party. I mean, these are just
Right.
some of the reflection that you've discussed earlier, and I enjoyed this very well. So I hope you don't mind me going through them.
No, not at all.
There's another one you mentioned. Don't let your opinion become the truth.
Yeah.
This one, I'm getting it from the idea of diversity.
Yeah.
That
Aye.
in a team, we have different point of views, perspectives, and those actually are contributory to a team success. Kasi kung
Yeah.
opinion ko lang ang papakinggan, edi ako lang yung nasunod.
Right.
And I don't have the support of the others. And I think
Yeah.
that's very significant. Don't
Yeah.
let your opinion become the truth. Stay under control. Yeah.
Yes.
Gusto ko yan kasi many times you are about to burst.
Yeah.
Either hindi ka maintindihan ng mga kausap mo or parang lahat na lang ng mga sinabi mo mali and you'd like to strongly justify why you need to push it forward. You need to stay under control and then probably go back to the objective and then maybe filter out the garbage talk. Yung mga
And
narinig
isn't
mo na
that
hindi mo
isn't that your expertise, Dr. Amansek? I always see you like that in the board. That's why you're a fine, good, damn example in the board. That's why you always win.
Well,
That's it.
I try to.
He's
I try my
talking from experience.
But I do hope our online audience would pick up a thing or two from our discussions and apply it in their own day-to-day transactions.
Right.
Oh, you also mentioned that to join an organization. I think
Yeah.
I agree with that too. Because if you are doing something good, you might as well share it with the other groups of people so that you can influence them too.
Right.
Itong susunod, yung clarify intentions. Very interesting kasi minsan we try to deliver a message and it's bound to different interpretation based on their assumptions.
Yes.
Minsan ang ganda nung sinasabi mo at ang ganda ng intention mo and yet parang tinatanggap nila ito as a negative comment.
Right.
So I agree that when you are delivering something, minsan simulan mo sa ano ba yung intention mo.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Like for instance, you're organizing an activity. Before you go to the how, ganda yung nabanggit mo kanina eh, how you define managers versus leaders. Discuss muna yung what and why. Diba? And then, once you have clarified that intention, then dwell to the how and when. Kasi marami sa atin, may iba't ibang paraan para gawin ang isang bagay. The how.
Yes.
And based on that differences, minsan nauuwi tayo sa argument unnecessarily.
Right.
But if we all agree with the what and why, then it's a lot easier for us to move forward with the how and when.
Yeah, that's right. That's why it's always good to agree to disagree.
Yes. There's another thing that I've taken note of, sir.
Yeah.
We can't say we do not have time.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Siguro we can say we are running out of time. And if you try to look at the thought in between, we do not have time somehow says ayaw mong gawin.
Right.
But if we are running out of time, it's somewhat saying gusto ko siyang gawin pero kulang na ako sa panahon. Pero kung pupush ko talaga, hahanap ako ng paraan sa maikling panahong natitira para magawa ko siya.
Exactly. Yes.
Ang saya nito, ang saya
That's
talaga.
good.
You also shared Eisenhower matrix.
Yep.
And what I picked up there is not everything urgent is important.
That's
So,
right.
we delegate.
That's right.
Medyo na-connect ko siya sa concept of mentoring eh. Siyempre,
Yes.
when we manage our centers, we also want to develop the next line center managers. O kung sino yung mga papalit sa atin pag nag-retire na tayo o nalipat na tayo
Right.
ng assignment. So when we
Right.
develop people in our centers, we want them to experience the things that we do on a daily transaction. So when we delegate, we don't only give them the task, but we also look at into the, yun nga, based on the matrix, yung urgency and importance.
Yes. Yes.
Ang ganda ng matrix na yun. I think this can be used by a lot of center managers nationwide in pursuing their daily operations.
Yeah. Good to have military tactics.
And alam mo, Sir Pierre, yung talk mo, hindi lang technical training to eh. Sabi nga ng iba nating online viewers, good vibe. Good vibe.
That's so kind of them to say that. Thank you.
Very inspiring. Meron kang binanggit kanina, quoted from Aristotle. We are what we do repeatedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
Excellent.
very glaring siya para sa akin. Kasi kung ano yung ginagawa mo every day really tells who you are. And if you only take the time to reflect after the day ends, ano ba yung mga ginawa ko? Meron ba akong nasaktan? Meron ba akong na-offend? Maybe if we do this on a regular basis, we can actually know ourselves.
Let's bet that.
And of course, your professional and personal integrity, that is a good closing deal. Ang galing. Especially
Thank you.
if you're faced with shame, ay, ang daming tao ang itatanggi ang kanilang ginawa, wag lang silang mapahiya.
Right.
Yeah, it really takes courage.
Looks like we have a lot of that in government.
Yeah, I really believe that this personal and professional integrity should be more of a thing for all of us, especially when in the line of service. No?
Yep.
Sige sir, may mga tanong po ang ating mga online participants. Let's see if we can entertain them. Let's have the first question and proceed to the open forum.
Okay.
Let's have the first question. Sabi dito, what activities or programs will help center managers in developing their staff's interpersonal skills?
Oh, that's good. That's a very spot on. Well, my first advice is don't overdo it, because interpersonal skills are, remember, as we've explained, are natural skills. You know, they are more naturally honed if they are practiced every day. So it should be, in a sense, not prepared for too much. It should be a like a culture of excellence in the eCenter. You know what I mean when there's a school that you visit, for example. One of the concrete things I use to measure the cleanliness of a school when I consult for inspectors, leaders of their central management. Okay, one of the concrete measures that I do when I visit the school and measure the cleanliness, I go to the toilet first. Okay, I go visit the toilet first and see if it's dry, if it's clean, if it is spared from the scent of humanity, if you know what I mean. uh, and then there's no vandalism, because the environment, the material environment, right away educates or teaches the visitor, the students, the parents, the community stakeholders of cleanliness. Okay, so it already teaches them or trains them to behave themselves, not to throw litter, not to always clean and dry the urinal, the toilet bowl, or not to write or carve their names on the wooden desks. Okay, so it's an effective way, it's an effective program to foment good interpersonal skills. So don't overdo it. I'm not saying that you don't organize capacity building programs for that skill set, but don't overdo it in a sense that design your place, design your meetings, design your capacity building programs for other people in such a way that you yourselves will be capacitated to practice and refine and put to a higher level your interpersonal skill set. Okay, and then love the words, no, love language, love your language. Try to read yourselves. I mean, enrich yourselves, because whether it be the Filipino language or another language like the English language, it was I think Dr. James Murray, the very first editor, the very first editor of the first edition of the Oxford Lexicon, of the Oxford English Dictionary. He said, for every word in action becomes beautiful in the light of its own meaning. For every word in action becomes beautiful in the light of its own meaning. So thank you for that question. I thank you.
So let's see this question. What advice can you give those people who keep their integrity even if the people they work with doesn't do the same? How can we influence our colleagues in the center to keep their integrity?
Nice. That's a well stated question. Uh, my advice to them, my advice to you, if you're included in that, uh, is this: no? There is such a maxim, an aphorism that goes like this: nothing is wasted. The equivalent of that in the world of science, in science formulas and equations, is the law of conservation of mass and energy. Dr. Amansek is aware of this. He works at Picard, DOST. He knows this. The law of conservation of mass and energy. Nothing is wasted. Even a single flatulence. When you fart today, now, right here and now, when you fart, that fart doesn't disappear in the atmosphere. Okay, it doesn't vaporize itself and then kaput, no more. Everything transforms, okay, into another form of energy, of I don't know, no? Whatever is seen and felt in the universe, it just transforms. So nothing is wasted. Even if you have consistently, that's why consistency is very important. If you have consistently maintained yourself despite talking to other people like clients or other stakeholders who do not consistently do the same like you, your effort of doing so, of being patient and not giving in, so to speak, will not be wasted. There are people in the sidelines, no? And those people who do not change yet will realize in the future, they will realize that they've done you wrong. Okay. And even if they don't realize that they've done you wrong, some cultures in the East, no, like the Indians, believe that there is bad karma.
Hmm.
So,
Karma.
bahala sila. There is bad karma daw, no? Whatever that means. But for sure, since nothing is wasted, you did a good thing. Okay, you did a good deed, and you will be rewarded.
Right. Yeah. Very well said, sir. There's another question here. Medyo connected siya kung papaano natin uunawain pa yung interpersonal skills. It's a question from Mr. Jason Xavier Redoblado from Bustamante National High School in Davao City. Sabi niya,
Mhm.
can giving be the only way to improve the interpersonal skills?
No. Okay. Mr. Jason Xavier Redoblado Bustamante of National High School from Davao. Of course, technically, it's not the only thing, but it's a motherhood statement. It's a generic statement that means to say also that it is a simplification of the action words atypical to loving. You know, in the Castilian language, there is, I'd like to borrow a Castilian piece of prose. No? I remember it very well. It goes like this, Mr. Xavier, Jason Xavier. Nosotros hemos buscando el amor sin fin. Esta encontraremos el amor que nunca terminará. In English, it translates as such. We have searched and searched for a love without end. But when we have found each other, it seems it will never end. That prose talks about a discovery of a love so profound that it seems it's eternal. No, I mean, it's eternal. It will not end. So when that happens, one realizes it's because someone has given himself or herself totally, body and soul, to the other. Okay, because it's talking about love. So what is that? It's giving, right? It's giving. It's self-giving. It's self-immolation. It is self-donation. So in like manner, in little technical things of day-to-day, when you keep on giving, pag kayo po yung laging nagpaparaya, okay? Kayo po yung laging nagbibigay. Kayo po yung laging, sige, siya na lang, no? Siya na lang, nagpaparaya ka, nagpapatalo ka, pero hindi ibig sabihin na hindi mo ipapaliwanag, no? Hindi mo i-justify, lalo na kung nasa tama ka, hindi naman ibig sabihin. Ibig sabihin ng giving, yun yung laging nagpaparaya in a positive sense, no? In a positive way. I think you know what I mean, no? Kasi yun yung mga tao na kinalaunan ay tinitingala na mas malakas. Yun po yung mas malakas, yun po yung masiga, yung nagparaya. Yun yung talagang matikas at saka siga. Yung marunong magparaya, yung marunong lumuhod at humingi ng tawad. Yung marunong lumuhod, magdasal, humingi ng tawad, yun po yung matibay. Yun po yung talagang hindi mo matatalo sa kahit anong suntukan. Sa kahit anong kasigaan. So, giving is a sure way to improve the interpersonal skills of your staff or of ourselves. Pasensya na po Pero yun po. Salamat sa tanong, Sir Xavier.
Very well said, sir. Looks like we have time for one last question, and let's see how we'll tackle this. Sabi niya, from Jean Lasquite, how can one really be called honest? Maybe what she's trying to pick from our minds is, ano ba yung mga indicators para masabing honest ka?
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Jean Lasquite. I think I know her. I don't know if I have the right person in mind, but being a core value in itself, no? How can one be really called honest when any person, any human person in history cannot be perfectly honest? No, I mean, like our Lord Jesus Christ, no, even if he is God himself and true man himself, that human person, that true human person of history, is the and only example of a person you can call perfectly honest. Okay, and perhaps maybe also his mother, because he is of without sin, without blemish, without taint. However, if an ordinary person like me or you or other people to be called honest, I would say if there is evidence that there's an iota of evidence in the day-to-day indicators and traits of his or her life of fits of truthfulness, then okay. And how do you see that? How do you see that in the day-to-day and in the principles and speech and actions of that person that we want to call honest? There are 6 indicators for me, and not necessarily in any order. That can be his or her love for God, okay, or respect for a supreme being, okay. That is also his or her respect for authority, laws, authority, people in authority. That is his or her respect for human sexuality. That's number 3. Or male or female or other beliefs, practices. If there is respect for human sexuality and it shows in his speech, his ideas, his quality work, he makes a stand, then you can call that guy honest. And then number 4, there is a responsible use of natural resources, material things. You can also see that as an indicator in his quality work, and output, life. And there is also love for truth. Okay, truthfulness. Siyempre, hindi mawawala yung love for truth or truthfulness. So, pag nakikita po yung mga yang 5 yan o 6 na yan, pinagsama ko yung kasi ano pa yun? Love for God, respect for authority, respect for sexuality, material things, responsibility, tapos merong love for truth. Baka may nakalimutan ako, Dr. Jean. Dagdag mo na lang. Pag yung mga universal traits na yan and values na yan ay nakikita somehow sa kalidad ng kanyang output ng trabaho, sa kanyang kalidad ng kanyang pananalita o mga behavior, deeds in public and in private, masasabi mo siguro honest yung tao na yun. Kasi wala namang measure eh. Like it's like love for God or for your beloved, di ba? The only measure of loving God is loving God without measure.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Sir Pierre, this has been a very fruitful and juicy discussion for our 13th webinar. So, ladies and gentlemen, we now move on to the next phase. And we'd like to thank Sir Pierre for joining us and inspiring many of our center managers and knowledge workers. Sir Pierre, any final message to our viewers online?
Well, I've said it all, and may all of us be gracious. May all of us be gracious as much as possible, as much as we can, while we are still alive. Being gracious is being nice, being kind. to anyone, even to your enemies. Thank you.
I agree. Let's all be gracious. Thank you, Sir Pierre. We now move on to awarding of certificates. Back to you, Miss Angel. So while Miss Angel is taking some time, let me read to you the certificate for our resource person. 15th Knowledge Exchange Conference, eCenters in the Digital Philippines for the New Normal. Certificate of Appreciation is given to Professor Pierangelo B. Alejo in recognition of his participation as resource speaker in Technical Competency 3, Interpersonal Skills, live streamed on November 26, 2020 via YouTube live stream.
Thank you. Muchísimas gracias.
We'll see you again, Sir Pierre. Bye for now.
Bye.
We now announce the winners for today's raffle. Are you ready to know who won these prizes? So if you are ready, just hit yes in the comments box in our live chat. Reminder, to claim your prize, you must send an email to the secretariat at philsecnet.org. And that has to be done before the end of today's webinar. Use the email subject, raffle claim, and then followed by your complete name. Also, in that email, include the details of your bank account and account number. Remember to include the branch of account so that we can completely deposit your prize to the correct account. Again, as mentioned by Angel earlier, please do not provide any passwords that you may be receiving as an inquiry. We will never ask for your passwords of your bank account. Remember to send using the same email address that you used to register. And again, this will be our last training webinar for the webinar series of KEC 15. So let me now read to you the winners. The winners of the cash prizes worth 500 pesos are Maria Cristina Orbesido and Elita Q. Villanueva, Henry B. Azura, Renovic C. Repolyo, and Eleanor Paner. Congratulations! So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes our 13th and final training webinar titled Technical Competency 3, Interpersonal Skills. As we close this webinar series, I hope you could join us in our closing ceremony next week, December 3, 2020. We will be announcing the winners of the PhilSecNet Pandemic Resilience Award with 15,000 cash prizes each. Also, over 5,000 pesos in cash are to be raffled and given away to online participants. So we really hope to see you next week. Save the date and see you there. As we end today's activity, please watch the closing video for a few more reminders. That's it, everyone. This is the 15th Knowledge Exchange Conference with the theme, eCenter in the Digital Philippines for the New Normal, a webinar series from August 20 to November 26, 2020. Once again, thank you for joining us today. My name is Dr. Richard Iamansek. Goodbye for now, stay safe, and God bless.